How's it going, everybody? It is another day here on the homestead. I'd say it's beautiful, but it's cloudy and overcast, so it is a nice day. It's not cold out. Anyway, today's episode, I am going to be part 2. That's 3. That's 2. You can count, Ethan. Today's episode is going to be the second episode in our Build a Greenhouse Out of Anything series. And I don't know if you can see, but I got that other structure over here. So I have both of the structures. I think I've made a decision on the worst of the two, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But first thing I want to just discuss is the idea of a structure. I wasn't really explicit in the last episode. You can make a structure of just about anything. You're really just creating a shell for either the polytarp or the polycarbonate panels or the glass to fix itself to. So if you've seen our chicken coop build, which I think I tell how not to build a chicken coop, I'll put up here. But you can see that's a structure that would work perfectly fine for a greenhouse. In fact, Sarah and I have discussed turning it into a greenhouse, but we just haven't gotten to the point yet where we can move the chickens out of that coop. But a structure like that would work fine. What would also work fine is a structure like this, which is much more similar to what a hoop house is actually made from. So today is going to be all about making our structure. I'm going to get the first one up. I need to get this thing up. Now I've got an hour or so to do it. I got to get it done because I need to order the poly tarp for it tomorrow at the latest. It'd be nice if I could do it today, but at a minimum, I've got to get it done today so I can order it tomorrow so that we can get that thing started with some seeds. I'm gonna go get that thing put together, and then I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of our next episode, and I'm gonna show you how we're planning on attaching the poly tarp to this structure. All right, well, got it up. It is not a deep subject, the well. Anyway, we got it up. I have Lawrence there, I hand tightened all of the nuts and bolts on it, so.
Wait, every single one?
At all the joints.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
So Lawrence is going to be tightening those up, and I'm going to show you kind of our plan here for how we are going to attach the greenhouse fabric, or poly tarp, whatever you want to call it, to this structure. I'm expecting that we might have a couple of issues with it. And I'm also going to talk to you about the other one over there, the one that was really, really beat up. We are going to be leaving it right here so that it's just off of the house, so that this summer and this spring here, we can just walk out that door and come right into the greenhouse. So the entrance will be on the far side, and then this is just going to be poly tarped. So you might be asking yourself, how are we going to, if we just put poly tarping over the top of this, it's just gonna fall down. It's not gonna stay there. And if we weight it down with rocks or something like that, that's not gonna work. And you would be right. We're getting a sheet that will go from one side all the way up and over down to the other side, okay? And I'm going to be mounting a 2x6 probably, or 2x4 along the edge of the post here, about 4 feet off the ground, I think. I'm just making that up. 4 feet sounds good to me. And I'm gonna run a 2x4 or 2x6 the entire length of this greenhouse. So basically what there's gonna be is there's going to be a 2x4, 4 feet off the ground, that wraps around the entire perimeter except for where the door is at the far end. You with me so far? Then what we'll be doing is on that 2x4, we are going to be putting wiggle channel around the entire thing. If you don't know what wiggle channel is, and I don't know if that's what it's called, I helped with some of it once at Sarah's family's greenhouse. I helped install some one time, or maybe I just helped put poly in there. But basically, it's a little track and there's a wire that's wiggly. You pull the tarp tight and then you put the little wiggle wire inside of the little track, and that effectively locks it in place and you don't have to worry about it ripping the tarp. So we'll go to this side, we'll get it all set up, put the wiggle channel, put the poly tarp in, go to the other side, pull it tight, insert the wiggle wire in the channel and lock the poly tarp in place. So beneath the 4-foot mark here where we're going to have that board, the pieces that go down will just be able to hang down, and basically those will be able to go all the way to the ground, or we'll be able to lift them up in the summertime so we can get air going through the building. I mean, we're in Minnesota, but it's still going to get really, really hot in here in the summertime if we don't have a way to get air out. Now, some expected problems that I'm thinking we're gonna have is with these spans and rain, not to mention snow, because we're probably just gonna leave this up through the winter and use it for firewood is my guess. You can see from here, right there to here is gotta be 7 feet. And looking online at actual hoop houses, they seem to come in either 4 or 6 foot spans. So I think I might end up having to figure out a way to basically support the roof between the center here and the center right in here. So that's an expected problem that I think we're gonna have, but I'm not gonna over-engineer and fix it until it's a problem. How's that coming along, bud?
Bad.
Why bad?
These pliers won't get on there, and then the second I start doing that, the bolt on the other side just spins. So obviously the hole's too big for it.
So try using the channel locks this way. Get on top of it that way. And then,
I can't press down hard enough.
that's alright, son, you'll get it.
And then
Another couple of years you'll clamp hard. Can you get on it or not?
I can get on it.
Go. That's probably good. All right, so on to this other one over here. I've made a decision with this thing. It is not worth me tackling, unfortunately. The supply place that I'm looking at getting the fabric or the poly tarp that I'm going to be placing the order with, they have a greenhouse it's a hoop house, but it's twice as big as the one I have set up here, and it's like $900. That's everything included. When I consider my time, there is no way I'm fixing this thing up for less than that price. We have enough work without taking on a project like this. I think that the one behind me here will be good enough for everything we need. It's in pretty great shape. So this one here, this one that's broken, that collapsed, that I really thought I could reuse, I'm just going to be breaking this down into parts, and I will be splitting this up and using all of this just as scrap pipe. Oh yeah, a really big announcement. I was able to make a purchase for chickens, so that's great. I think some of the hatcheries have now just increased their production maybe a little bit. But anyway, I was able to find 100 Cornish cross, which is what I could find, and they'll be ready on May 3rd. So that's really cool. That's good news. The only issue now is I have a little less than a month to get the brooder ready, and then I need to get the chicken tractor ready to move the 100 birds through the property here. We're just gonna be moving them on the front yard slash field. I don't know. It was a field a long time ago. Then my grandpa had it as a yard for years. And it's been maintained or not maintained as a yard. I had horses out there for a while when Sarah and I first got married. So anyway, it's been all kinds of things, but we're gonna be running them down there. We're gonna actually try to turn that into good pasture land. Those are big projects I have to get done, and I gotta get those done, so I gotta move on from this. I gotta get this greenhouse done, we gotta get seeds started, and I need to move on. So, sadly, kind of a bummer, but I'm canceling that other greenhouse build. I would just simply be spending way too much time. City people honking.
I had a dog.
I complain about city people too much. I'll be honest about that. But like when I was a kid, I never heard anyone honk around here. Honking was something you did when you were really angry. I remember my grandpa, if somebody honked, boy, that was not good. You did not want to honk your horn. Anyway, somebody was honking at a dog.
You know how it's too big for me?
Yeah?
I'm gonna ride my scooter around and it might get caught in the wheels again.
Yeah, your train might get caught.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should get out of your princess dress, sweetie, to go bike riding. I know, but like you're bike riding. No princesses while bike riding. We've gotten started here on some of the garden beds. Lawrence is getting everything started. Cool to see that going in. We'll have more episodes about that in the near future. So you'll walk out the front door and you will be right into the garden. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I hope that if nothing else, you stay safe and use what's going on right now in your life to accomplish some of the things you've really wanted to do. Often in life, you never have time for anything, and if you're so able to use this as an opportunity to do all the things you wanted to do, I encourage you all to make the best out of this as you can. All right, until next time, see ya.